Hello subscribers, welcome to a live stream. I'm going to be doing just some coding on Fortaeverse, the RPG game I'm working on. So this is not playing games tonight, this is making a game. So I've been recently working on graphics and animations and tying that into the client side of the game. The back end, the server side, has a whole lot done. That's where almost all the code is. But there is some stuff that needs to be done on the client side. I already have sound tied in, and there's people doing voice acting for me. That's been doing great with that. So that's where I'm at. Alright, let's make sure all this stuff's working. Windows are up. Okay. Alright. So, let's show you what I've been working on. I'm going to move the Google Chrome window up. There we go. Okay. So this is the minimap. I'll hide it here so you can see which one I'm talking about. So the minimap is where all the different life forms and places and things of that nature are displayed from a bird's eye view. And then this is the first person perspective view. And I'll just move forward here so you can see how they go in sync. So here I'm going north.
I hear someone.
And now we just went to by a tavern. So let's get out of that area. So you'll see that this border here coincides with when you enter the place. I've had to do some rework on this map, so there's a couple things that aren't 100% yet. Like this box is actually off by 10 pixels. Just goofy things like that. But the reason why I had to redo it was I switched it to be an animation type canvas where I can draw actual things on it. And so what I'm going to do right now is click on something and you're going to see a projectile fire from the center here, which is the party, to wherever I click. So I'm not sure if you can see that. The color is blue, but I'm shooting, and wherever I'm clicking, you can see it going. Here, I'll click a whole bunch so you can see them going through there. Might be a little easier to see. But this is just a demonstration on how arrows and fireballs and other things are going to travel on this mini map. Hey, CST, welcome to the stream. How are you doing tonight? So I'll show you real quick a more like an explosion type effect that'll be a lot easier to see. Let's see here. We're going to go to we're going to create an explosion. Let me reload this because that dark blue is kind of hard to see. Okay, so now you can see I basically did an explosion here. I'll do a few of them. And they don't look obviously like real explosions right now, but just showing the projectiles or the particles and how I can draw them essentially inside this window. I'll probably have special effects here too, like how Bard's Tale Remake does it, maybe. I'm not 100% sure of that, but how when you cast a spell that's a fire spell, maybe I'll show like a fiery explosion on this side, whereas if it's cold, maybe I'll show some kind of cold blast. I don't know yet. But this mini map's more important right now because during combat, you're going to see things traveling, spells being cast, all kinds of effects in here. So, orange is the hitbox. Yeah, this orange here is the area. I'll show you. I'll walk toward this building.
Certainly.
And it's the tavern. And it's off by 10 pixels right now. So really, right here, I stepped into it, even though you can't really tell. See how over here it's showing them in the saloon? I'll go a little bit to the right so you can see once I get to the edge of it.
Or something.
See, now we're out of the border. So essentially that's a way of looking at the mini map where you know you're within the border of something. And I may end up having terrain and stuff drawn here, you know, grass and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure yet though. But anyway, so what I'm working on are these projectiles, and I'm tying them into the spell casting and missile firing and throwing weapons. So that's what I'm going to be coding tonight. So I'm going to flip that back to where I had it, where it was a real projectile instead of an explosion. Yeah, you can see, you might be able to see there, I'm just clicking and there's a blue projectile being shot. So let's flip back to the code. Let's make sure the camera sees it. There we go. All right, so I already have something called, in the message system, I can attach sounds to a message. And essentially what happens is I can control when a message appears and in what sequence and how long to delay before a sound occurs. And so what I want to do is the same thing with animations. When a message is going to be displayed, such as Lancelot shoots a bow at a green slime, when that message is displayed as text to the client, I want the projectile to fire. And then maybe, I don't know, 50 milliseconds later, 100 milliseconds later, I want the sound of the impact, of the monster being hurt or whatever occurring. So I can control all that stuff and fine tune it. But I already have the animation aspect, because let me show you. I'm going to cast a spell that's going to cause one of these background. I'll cast it on Bubba. It'll cause it to flash. Let's do initiate bolt. And I've already shown this, but I'll show you what I'm talking about right now for those that missed it. So we're going to cast it on Bubba. You're going to see his background turn red for a split second.
Coins and dollars.
So there, he just took 9 magic damage. And so that right there is an animation on a character. That's a damage animation. Basically, if you're taking something that's damaging an attribute, whether it's circulatory system or your physical health, it's going to flash red. Now, if we do something that is like a condition, it's going to flash blue. Let me see if I have anything. The alchemist probably will have a spell. Yeah, irritation. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do irritation. Yeah. This will probably hit all of us. I think it's an area of effect spell.
77. 77.
No, it didn't hit my guys. Let's try acid resistance. See if we can boost that. Hey, Mac, welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
77. 77.
I must not have that implemented either. Let's do... Let me see if I can cast irritation, but on a specific person. See if that fires.
77.
Nope, okay.
77.
I guess I don't have that in effect. Let me create a priest real quick. And I'll create a necromancer. And then that way we can show those animations real quick. So let's call him Necro so we know it's a necromancer. Make him human. And we'll give him we'll give her the impatient voice.
Yeah?
Okay, we'll just not dump anything except into necromancy. And a little oratory. There we go. And then we'll create a priest. Let's call him Healer. Let's do a gnome priest. Where's the priest? It's female. Okay. Divinity is their magic realm. Dump some in oratory. Because I want to show healing, how the color's different there too. Okay. So the necromancer, we're going to have him cast Nausea on Bubba. Cast on the party. Bubba.
Tustiman.
There we go. You saw the blue.
Tustiman.
There was a blue color. I'll cast on one more. We'll cast on Robin Hood just in case you missed it. Cast on party, Robin Hood.
Tustiman. Tustiman.
What is that?
Okay, so then you heard him say something too. That was the nauseated sound effect. And you can see the condition right here. That's nauseated. So now we'll do some healing. Bubba's a tiny bit injured, so we'll have the priest heal him. Heal minor wounds on Bubba. And you'll see then it'll be white.
Suri Nola. Suri Nola.
Or it should be. Oh, cannot be healed because he does not have that attribute. So I don't have something correct there because everybody has physical health. So that should have definitely healed him. Well, I guess I won't show that right now. Yeah, let me make sure that... Oh, gosh, I just realized you guys aren't seeing anything that I was showing you. That's a problem. Okay. It's so hard to have OBS record the right views. I'm trying to show the full screen. Okay, let me go back and do that again. So we'll have the Necromancer cast Nausea, and we're going to cast it on Daryl up here. And you're going to see the blue flash around here.
Tustiman. Tustiman.
Resisted. Resisted. Okay, so you resisted both times. We'll do it again.
Tustiman.
That is foul.
Tustiman.
There we go. Okay. And then I don't think you probably even saw the red. So we'll attack with our longbow party member. And it'll be Bubba. So you can see the red as he takes damage. Down here it coincides with the text that's displaying. Okay, so again, I'm going to be working on the projectile effects here. So let's go back to the code. And what I need to do is have an animation that sends a single projectile when a spell's cast, if it's a line-based spell and it travels in a line, because some don't. Some are what's called instant targeting, where they just appear where the enemy is, like maybe acid rain, or sometimes mental spells are that way. So those won't have a projectile fly across, but ranged weapons will. So what we want to do is look at on the spell the magical effect types, and if it's line traveling, if one of the magic effects has a line travel, then we're going to tie in the animation. So we have the spell right here. So inside the spell, there's spell magic effects. There's an array of them. Okay, so what we're going to do is say if the effects isn't null and there's at least one, then we're going to loop through and see if any of them have a line effect. Okay, so what that's called is the travel type. So we're going to get the travel type ID. And then we're going to find the actual travel type for that, the name of it. Travel types. Get name equals ignore case line. And actually, there's one other type also. So let's do it this way. If it equals line, or if it equals continuous line, then we're going to run the code. Eclipse is garbage collecting right now. That's why it looks like it's frozen. It's doing its thing. It's going through all the elements in memory and releasing things that Eclipse thinks isn't being used anymore. Anytime you hit save, a lot of times it goes through this process. Especially on larger files. This file's larger right now because I haven't refactored it and split it up. Come on, Eclipse, do your thing. There it goes. Okay, so we don't have travel types here. We're going to have to pass that in. Let me make sure we don't already have one. Nope. Okay. We're going to stop. This is the server's actually running right now. That's why these messages are appearing there. So we'll stop the server. And now we need to keep passing this all the way down to this function. We'll save and then let the compiler do the work for us. And then over here on the right side, it's going to show a red dash where the code needs to change. This is the lazy way to program. You know exactly where or what you need to do, but you don't know where the line of code is. So you just save it, Eclipse will recompile, and then you just go to where the red mark is and change the code there. Once it gets done. Okay. Come on, Eclipse. Do your thing. Okay. So down here, we click on it, and it takes us to the function that calls that one. So this is where we need to add travel types. And then most likely this function also doesn't have it. Let's double check. Travel types. It does have travel types, I think. So we'll save it. Okay. And we also have to pass it in here. Save it. And as you can see, the red went away. So we now know what type of path it takes, whether it's a a straight line or a continuous line. The difference is a line will, if there's something in the path, it's going to stop the spell. It's going to stop the effect. And if it's a continuous line, the effect will keep going through the target. So essentially, it'd be like lightning bolt spell in the AD&D gold box games. That would be a continuous line. A regular line would be more like you shoot an arrow and there's something in the way and you accidentally hit that, even though you were aiming behind it. So if it's either of those, then we're going to break out of this loop and we're going to say line equals true. Create a variable here. So now that we know it's a line, we can create the projectile animation, and we're going to instruct the client, which is the web browser, what to draw. Okay, so right here, if line set animation. I'll be more specific. I'll give it a variable name of projectile animation, just to make it a little more clear. Okay, so the animations that I currently have, the only one is this that says color. So I'm using basically XML and instructing the client on what kind of animation to do. So this is saying do a color of this. And since the source ID is set on the message, the source ID points to a party member. So like if Robin Hood gets shot, then this ID ends up being Robin Hood's unique identifier. So then the client looks and says, oh, I need to use this color and change his background and make it be a flashing, fading effect behind him of this color. So now we're doing something totally different. We're doing a projectile animation. So what we're going to do, we're going to call this projectile. And with the projectile, we need a color of the projectile. We need a speed. We need where it came from and where it's going to. So the first thing we're going to put in here is, let's do OX for originating X position. And that's where the spell is starting from. Okay, so that's going to be the caster's position. So source.get, oops. Wait a minute, let's see what source is. Is it source member? No, let me look and see. Members. I have a target. Let me see if I have a target. Ah, okay. So this function I'm in is for spells that target a location, not a specific life form. So there's different types of spell casts. There's hits a location. So you pick the XY coordinates. That'd be like if you wanted to cast a fireball and have it explode in a certain area, you know, or you could cast it right on top of people and it'd explode in that area. There's a life form where you target one individual life form or multiples. And then there's party or self. If it's self, you don't get pick. It just works on the caster themselves. If it's party, then it will hit all of the party members no matter where they're at. So if one's 100 feet over that way and you cast it on one of the party members, but it's a party target, it's going to hit all of them. Kind of like in Wizardry 8 how the Psionic Blast spell works. Okay, so really the originating X is where the member themselves is standing. So we're going to do member.get their X position. And this is not a string, this is an int. Then we're going to do the original Y position. And I'm not really worried about Z right now, but I'll go ahead and put it in so that in the future it could be three-dimensional. And then we're doing the destination, which we see is just X, Y, and Z. So OX, and let's go ahead and do a string builder just to make this faster. String builders are faster when you're appending a bunch of strings together. Okay, so now we have to append the OX. Next, we're going to append the Y position. Close off the X. And then finally we'll append the Z position. In case you're up in the air, you know, or something's flying, a dragon or, you know, whatever. And that'll be OZ. OZ. Okay. And then before we forget, we're going to close off the projectile. And we also have to append the speed, the destination. So let's do destination next. We'll do, instead of OX, it'll be DX for destination. O is originating, D is destination. It could be anything you want, but that's just what I'm deciding to call it. Okay, so we have originating X and destination X, and then let's do color. And I think for now I'm just going to hard code all spells to be red, but I can change that and have each spell be, you know, have a different projectile look to it. But right now we'll just do that. Okay, and then we're also going to append the speed, and we'll call it 8 right now. Essentially, how many pixels is it going to travel per frame? Basically with JavaScript we can get about 60 frames per second, so that tells you how fast it'll travel. 8 pixels per frame out of 60 per second. That's quick. And I think that's it. Let's see. Source, destination, color, speed. Make sure there's nothing else. Yep. That should be it. Speed. Okay. Alright, make sure I've closed everything off here. Color, color, speed, speed. Projectile. The way XML works, you probably know, but it has a less than and greater than symbol for the element name, it's called. Here our element, we could have made it anything we wanted. I just called it color because that's intuitive. And then you put your value inside those element, the tag, and then you have to do what's called a closing of the element. So to do that, it's the exact same thing as the less than greater than, except you put a little slash after the less than. Okay, projectile OX. Yep, I think we've got everything closed off properly. Okay, so what we'll do now is go back to the client code. Let me flip the view. I'm just using good old Notepad on this. And here's our function for creating a projectile. So now what we need to do is go to the message section. And this is where we were looking for that color attribute. But what we're going to do first, if we're looking for color, is we're now going to look for projectile animation. Because remember, that's what we called our inner tag there. And if there's nothing there, then we'll fall back to color. So if it's null or it's 0, then go ahead and do the color animation. Like that. Otherwise, we're going to do a different type of animation. And I'm only using Notepad here just because I don't do much coding on the client side because I don't have a lot to do. But there's like TextPad Plus and a whole bunch of things you can use that is, quicker and friendlier than Notepad. But Notepad comes with Windows, so I'm showing you the rawest way to do it. Okay, so what we need to do is we already parsed this out, and now we're going to look inside that string for, once again, color, because we do have a color. And let's move this variable out. Out of the loop. Like that. Okay, what else do we have? We have speed. We have an X, which we're calling OX. And I'll just copy and paste those to make it quicker. And we have the exact same thing, but we have D for destination. There we go. Alright, am I missing anything? Color, speed. I think that's it. So now we have everything we need to actually create the projectile. So I'm going to do a quick search for code that I've already done that with. We'll steal it. Come back. Paste. We're going to create a projectile. This is the starting position. So it's going to be OX. And then we're going to do OY. And then the destination X, destination Y. And color. And then speed. Now what I'm going to do is put in a protection here just in case the speed's wrong. If speed is less than or equal to 0, which means it would never move, I'm going to set it to 1. And then same with color. If color for whatever reason was not defined, then I'm going to set it to, I guess, blue. That's just a protection mechanism in case something goes wrong on the server. Okay, so We may need to parse these numbers to be integers. I don't know yet. We'll find out, because this is actually going to be text, and it's not a real number. But we'll see. So let's go ahead and run it and see if we actually get a projectile, if I didn't miss anything. Let's move this down. Let me bring Chrome up. Let's start the server. Now this is, I'll have to make sure I cast a spell that hits a location. Like that irritate spell. I think it travels in a line. Actually, you know what? Let me double check that. Make sure it does. Yes, it does travel in a line. Okay, cool. All right, log in. Where are you? Alchemist. Let's cast it. Let me select a location. We'll try to cast it there and see if it shows up.
Sjuttiosju.
I didn't see projectile. Let me make sure there's not a coding error here. Nope, no coding error. Okay, let me make sure it's hitting my breakpoint. Let's flip back to the code so you can see on the server side how I'm doing this. So I have set what's called a breakpoint right here, and we're going to use the debugger and see if it hits that. So let's cast it again. Yes, it did. So you can see the program counter in green here is waiting. So we're going to step through the code and see if we're generating everything properly. So that's the projectile XML. That's all correct. I think I may be off screen now that I think about it. I think that's what's happening. Because this, if you look at this, see how it says minus 150, minus 150? That's because it's relative to the party. When I get to here over the party, it's 0, 0. And as you go down here, it becomes up to 150, 150 at the very end. So I think the server side coordinates are different. And that might be what's happening there. So it might be like trying to draw it outside the border of the box. So that's what we need to find. Because this all looks good. The server side looks good. It set the message animation. Set the sound. That's how we heard the sound effect. Okay. Server side looks good.
77.
I'm deeply
77.
sorry, but I cannot.
He ran out of mana. So he said, I'm sorry, but I cannot. Okay. So next thing to do is to flip back to the notepad. And I'm going to put in some alert message, I think, to make sure we're getting this. This will pop up on the screen. Since he's out of mana, I'll have to recreate the database real quick here. Let's stop that. Okay, rerun. Then I'll flip this back to the browser. And this should change to back to higher numbers. I may have to log out and log back in. Oh, he had low mana on him. That's a shame. I backed up the database with low mana.
Hello there.
Okay, we'll create another guy real quick. Manage party. New party member. Alki2 we'll call him. Simple-minded. That'll be kind of funny.
I see something.
Let's back up the database in case I need to do this again. Okay, so we'll cast irritation. Oh, let me select an area. Let's do it right there. So it was in there. So it shows this originally position 0, 0. That's correct. And then this is where it should go to, which is correct. And then the color and speed's there. That's all correct. Okay, so there's something else going on here. Let's get rid of that. Color. I should be doing this first of all. No, not on that one, on this one. Do it this way. Okay. And let me make sure this one still works too, just by, yeah, so the projectile's still working. You can see it going through there. It's easier to see on the orange area. So, let me reload. This really shouldn't matter too much, but we'll double check it. Let's do it right here, so it'll be easier to see. Irritation. Yeah, I still don't think I saw it. Okay. Let's make sure there's no errors. If there's an error, I'm using Google Chrome, and oh, let me make sure that, yeah, okay, good, you're seeing it. If there's an error, you'll see it up here in the upper right. It puts like a little X, Google Chrome does. So that's a good way to know if you have an error in your JavaScript code, which I don't have an error, at least not a syntax error, but I have something else that's not right. So we'll probably do some special messages here. Let's see. Let's make sure it's going in here first of all. Create projectile. We'll do an alert. X. The Y position. And then we'll do the destination X and the destination Y. And then we'll also show the color. I'm just separating them so that we can see in the dialog. It doesn't really matter what you put here. And then we'll do the speed. Okay. And we'll see if we get a pop-up. Let's select right there. So red 8. Oh, okay. I think I know what's happening. Maybe. Yeah, I think I'm off screen. I think I'm outside the boundary. Because let me do just a normal click at the upper left and see if it's 0, 0. It's 150. That's the original position. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what's happening. So really, I'd probably just need to add the width of this divided by 2. Let's go ahead and try that. Flip you back here real quick so you can see. We're going to parse an int. We're going to call it real OX. And then we're going to add the width of the canvas. Let me see where that's at. Draw canvas. Divided by 2. And then same thing for Y, but we do the height instead of the width. Which as long as it's square, it'll be the same thing, but you're better off being safe. And then we'll do the same for dx, dy. Okay, and then instead of this, we'll pass in real OX, real OY, and so forth. Okay, let's see if that does it. Let's flip you back to Chrome. And we'll select right here. Yeah, there we go. Red projectile fired right to the target. So it coincides with the message that appears on the screen, coincides with the sound effects. Let me cast it on him. So you'll actually see this guy, I think his name's Sal, yeah. We'll attack him And I'm not sure if it'll hit him or not because it's a location based. I think I've programmed that, but I'm not 100% sure. But we'll at least see it go toward him. And if he gets caught up in it, he's going to get mad. And he's actually going to turn from a blue color, his background there, to red. You can see it.
77.
Yeah, see? It just turned him red.
77.
So now he's mad. So now he's going to approach. You can see the little bitty footprints coming toward us. He's going to attack us. So now we'll just go ahead and attack him back. Let's cast an acid arrow on him.
77. I'm deeply sorry, but I cannot.
And we'll shoot an arrow at him. We'll have this one do an acid arrow.
Oh,
He's got, there he goes, he died. Sal died from wounds. Okay, but yeah, that's awesome. We already got the spell projectile working. It's going to be a red. And I'll be able to control the travel speed because certain spells do have different travel speeds. Some, will go real fast and others will go kind of slow. So you'd actually have a chance to get out of the path of it. But right now I just have a default in 8. I'll cast it all the way up here just so it's easier to see. Cast. Rotation. There it goes. Okay, so now we can add the same thing to the rest of the code, the ones that hit parties and the one that hit individual life forms. And that'll be interesting to watch, especially in combat when there's all kinds of things going on. Okay, let's flip back to Eclipse. So I'm going to put this code somewhere so that we can reuse it. We'll call this add spell projectile animation. Or we'll just say add spell animation to the message. We need the spell, message, the member, which is the source. Well, actually, let's get positions. It'll be better. And then the X, Y, and Z. Okay, so we're going to move all this code to there. And we're calling it add spell animation. So we're making a new function. Private what else did we have? The spell, the message. Okay. Oops. And then the destination X. Like that. Oh, and we're going to have to pass in the travel types too. Travel types. Okay, save it. I'm waiting on Eclipse again. Man, it is quiet chat tonight. Hopefully you guys are having fun doing other things. Any day now, Eclipse. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing anywhere where it casts a spell at. So we're going to say cast, look for that code. So we'll do it here. And this is for parties that are hit. Now what's interesting about this is, oh, here we go, get parties by position, XYZ. So the source is going to be the same, XYZ. Let me make sure the member is the one casting it. Yep, okay. We're only going to do this the first time. We don't want to show multiple projectiles when it's one spell that just hits an area where there's multiples in there. So if Q is less than or equal to 0, or we'll just say equals 0, double equals animation, and we'll do the next one. This is probably for a party member. Nope, it's a single party. Okay. So party. Target party it's called. Target party. Get their X position. Okay. And let's make sure this is still there. Yes, okay, great. See if there's any others. Target party. Same deal. So let's copy this one. Okay. And then, what is the party? It's party, okay. This is on a specific party member. Member source. So source is the originating member. And then member is the target. Okay, is there any more? Let me see what method we're in. Cast spell. So we still haven't done this one. Real targets. Let me see what kind of cast this is. Number of targets. So this is when you're casting a spell that targets individual life forms, but there's multiples. So this does need multiple projectiles. Because essentially it'd be like the hold person spell in the AD&D Gold Box game. You know, where you can target 3 or 4 individual life forms. It's the same concept. So we need to do this for each one. Let's see. It's having a comma. Trying to think of the best way to do this. Let me see where this is coming from, this real targets. This is really the whole party. Yeah, so I'm not worried about showing multiple targets then. Okay. So we'll just use a single member. Source doesn't exist. So member is the caster. Okay. Member. Hey, Oscar Rivers. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? How long have I been working on this game? I think I started back last year in April or so, somewhere around there, February or April, I'm not 100% sure. So it's been a year and 3 months or so maybe. Target list, real targets, okay. Okay, now we got the D, the destination X, destination Y, destination Z. There we go. And this is probably the same deal. Target member party. Yep, real targets. And make sure this is the caster. It is. Okay. What do we got here? We already did this one. Okay, so we've done them all, so we'll save it. Oscar says, man, this looks very complicated. I think this is how Minecraft was made. Yeah, it is. Making games is one of the most complicated programming endeavors you can take on because there's so much going on. Especially if you're doing it the way I am, where I'm basically building it from scratch because I don't have a framework. It's a ton of work, but you can completely control it once you do it that way, you know, not using a framework. I can make it do anything I want it to do. But yes, it is. I've been developing, you know, for 30 plus years, so that's the only reason why I'm able to do that kind of thing. But, you know, you can make games with a lot of games are made with, you know, Unity or some other type of framework that will work just fine. So, but I want this to run on all kinds of devices, mobile and everything. So, all right, what am I missing here? Add spell animation. X, Y, and Z. Save. Got one more error here, which we need travel types, which we don't have passed in, so we need to pass that in. Down here. This one does have it. That's good news. Okay, save. Got one more right here. One more. Okay, so all the red's gone. But now you'll notice up here there's a little red X in the upper left on game servlet. So we have a few places where we have to now pass in the travel types here. Not too many places. Okay. Now we just put this everywhere. Save. Okay, those are all gone. And then we'll double check over here on the left side. If there's a little red X on any of these, then you know also that there was another game file that needed to do it, but there isn't, so we're done. Okay. So let's try to cast some other spells now. I'll go ahead and start the game engine again, and we'll see if those get projectiles. Let's flip the view back to Chrome. I'll log out and log back in. Okay, server's up now. So let's move to the left. So we're the little yellow here. The party always stays in the middle. And there's a ton of them right here. That's why the screen's moving. Because see that label? There's psionics, necromancers, thaumaturgists, whole bunch. Let's attack them with a spell. It'll tick them off and we'll die pretty quickly here. But we'll see if we see any projectiles. Okay, so we'll have this alchemist cast a life form spell that travels in a line, acid arrow, and we'll see if we see the projectile. Let's cast it on this psionic. I might be too far away. I don't know if it'll reach that far. It did. They're casting at me now. What condition is that? Diseased. Oh yeah. No necromancer caused disease on Alki.
Hello there.
Diseased. Okay. Daryl's diseased too. Let's the projectile looks like it's coming from a weird place. It looked like it was starting over here. So I don't have something right with the coordinates yet.
I just love cooties.
Let's cast it on a necromancer.
That is quite unpleasant.
Wow, we're getting a lot of disease cast on us and nausea. Party is caught in the area of the spell. And this is distracted, upper left. We'll enter combat so we can have it turn-based. Let's flip. Let's have the ranger shoot an arrow. And then he only has 4 mana. I think he can cast this.
Okay.
And then we'll do irritation. Let's cast it on the Sonic. He's only 7 feet away, so he's right on top of us, so we won't see that projectile. Oh, thanks, Oscar. Yeah, Garrison Panion made that music for me. He did an awesome job. Bubba, what are you gonna do? Just attack the Sonic that's right next to you. Okay, everybody's got their action set. Go.
I'm deeply sorry, but I cannot.
So that was 1 round. So it looks like we did 42 damage to the Gnome Necromancer, 17 acid damage. What else happened here? The Sonic resisted the irritation effect. Lots of resistance, okay. And didn't have enough mana to cast. Let me exit combat just so we can let him kill us real quick. Let's get some more in the fray. We'll try to hit the mayor. Yeah, now we got him casting all kinds of things on us. We'll move away and watch they'll chase us.
I hear someone or something.
You can see some of the blue here. 78 feet away, 69. So yeah, the projectiles are working great. Okay, cool. Let's add it in for the shooting weapons now. So bows and arrows and things like that. We'll color it something different too. Instead of red, we'll make it, I don't know, maybe white or brown. Let's flip the camera view. Alright, so that was add spell animation. Let's create another method called add missile weapon animation. And let's have the speed be a little slower. Let's do a 6. And then color we'll make white for now just to make it easy to see. And they don't have any of this stuff. It's automatically align. Okay, so now we'll add this method anywhere where weapons are shot. Come on, Eclipse, do your garbage collection. Okay, so we're going to say shoots. Let's do at. That's cast. There we go. So even the misses we're going to have, if they missed, we'll show the projectile going. Let's see. This is unarmed attacks because I see kicks, so we're not, that's not a projectile. We're going to look for a shoot. Okay, so here's a shooting attack. Tries to shoot but out of projectile, so we won't show the animation in that case. Here we go. So lash, swing, thrust, throw, and shoot. So these two we're going to show. But this is still just calculating the hit. It hasn't actually happened yet. Swinging. Okay, here we go. So by this point it has been fired. Search for at. Here it is. So this is what the attacker will see, and that's what the target will see. Both we want to witness the projectile. So if you're the one being attacked, you want to see the projectile. If you're the one doing the attack, you also want to see the projectile. So right here. Okay, this is where we're going to put our code. And we only want to do this if shooting or throwing. This dot add missile weapon. So the originating X is going to be the source. Let's see what he's called. I think it's called party member. Yep. Okay. Do it for X, Y, and Z. And then target is probably the name. Target member. Yep. Okay. That's it. That's all we needed to do right there. And then the same thing for the message target. Message target. And message attacker. Got to get the order right. Okay. And this is if you actually miss, I think. Yeah, misses. Still show the projectile. Here's the other one. If they dodge, we have a dodge sound. Message. Miss message. Where is that declared? Okay, so with miss message, yep, it's set right here. Okay, good. We're good. All right, that should be it. Let's save it. Oh, of course, there's no spell for this. But we may have a projectile. I think I'll do that right now. I'll just stub the code in. I won't do anything specifically with it yet, but that way if it's an arrow, I can make it look different than like a bolt or something else. I mean, shoot, we may have rocket launchers at some point. You never know. Projectile. Now we just have to find the projectile. Thrown weapons actually aren't projectiles, though. I mean, technically they are, but they're not considered that in the game. Let me look for something here real quick. Used projectile. That's what we'll do. Okay. Then we'll have Robin Hood shoot his bow, and we'll see if we see one. Oh, it should be white. Oh, hey, Millennial. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Yes, I'm a coder. I'm programming my game. It's called Fortaeverse. It's a massive multiplayer online RPG. Okay, let's flip the view back to Chrome. I'm waiting on Eclipse right now. It's garbage collecting all the memory that's being unused. Sometimes Eclipse has a harder time when you're working on something really complicated. It just isn't the best for doing its collection. Okay. Come on, Eclipse. And I've actually even optimized Eclipse's settings. And it's still sometimes really slow. Oh, come on. There, finally. Okay. Let's go back and start server. But yeah, the way I'm developing the game, the user interface is completely separated from all the server-side code. So someday, hopefully, people will want to fund, like, to pay someone to do graphics, real graphics. But till then, I just have to use what I can get. All right, so let's try to shoot. Let's move this direction. And we'll shoot at Sal, who is right here. Robin Hood, you have your bow equipped? Yes, you do. I saw the white projectile. It's coming from the wrong position. It's over here somewhere. But it is. He's running toward me. Let me try to get away from him again so I can shoot him again.
I hear someone or something.
You'll see the white. Yeah. So I'm just off on the X and Y position, but it is working. Awesome. So we have projectiles working for all types. Well, line attacks. I don't have cone attacks showing. The cone, of course, is going to go like this and hit anything in the area going outward like a cone. Like if you've played the AD&D Gold Box games, it would be like Cone of Cold. Or in Wizardry 8, their cone spells go out like that. And then we have line spells done. We have projectiles done from shooting and throwing. And then instant spells, it'll just show an effect on the target itself. And so then I'll start showing like explosions and clouds and things appearing on here. And what'll be really cool is when there's a whole bunch of enemies fighting and a whole bunch of casters and things, because it's just going to be, the minimap's going to go crazy. You're going to see so many different effects and projectiles and stuff. Let me put it back so you can see the explosion, like a simple explosion effect, because I know some people haven't seen that. Let's see. Let's reload. Just to demonstrate the kinds of things you could see. See, I mean, I can draw tons of projectile type things in here, no problem at all. And so I'll have clouds, I'll have explosions, all kinds of cool stuff. So I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time.